anxiety. I have PTSD from this.
Former college football player Malik St. Hilaire describing for the court how false accusations of rape by 19-year-old Nikki Yovino left him a broken man.
I went from being a college student to sitting at home, expelled with no classes, no information, and no opportunity to even clear my name.
Do you know how powerful the breath that leaves your mouth can be? That breath, which is altered by the diaphragm in conjunction, gives you the ability to utter words. Those words are impactful. Words have the ability to inspire and lead, to direct, to nurture, to guide. Those words also have the ability to threaten, to manipulate, and to deceive. Welcome to the Carrot Juice Podcast, where we observe society, we digest it, and through the nuance of it all, we attempt to progress forward. I am your host, Monte Lee, and here in this episode, I promise to illuminate the unimaginable power of words. How when uttered by a specific individual in a specific situation, it can alter your life. Before diving all the way into the story, imagine if the parties who are spoken about in this episode were somebody that you knew. Imagine, just for a moment, if it was your son, if it was your cousin, if it was your father, if it was you. Conversely, to the women, imagine if the person that in this story was your friend, your cousin, your sister, or even you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. Okay. We'll get to that later. So before we dive all the way into it, do me a favor for my audio listeners. Please rate and review the podcast 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And if you're consuming this episode on YouTube, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. On October 15th, police were dispatched to St. Vincent's Medical Center for a sexual assault complaint. Police said that 18-year-old Nikki Yovino told them she attended a Sacred Heart Football Club party the night before at a house at Lakeside Drive. The police said that Nikki claimed that while at the party, two men pulled her into a bathroom in the basement of the house. She indicated, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to do anything. My friends are waiting for me outside. Let me go outside." That's what Nikki told the police, and what she claimed she told the men. Police said that Yovino also told them they held her down and each took a turn sexually assaulting her. Police said both men admitted to having sex with Yovino in the bathroom, but they said that it was consensual. Both students agreed to withdraw from the university after they were stripped of their scholarships and as they were about to go before a disciplinary hearing. There's more to this story. A 30-year special investigator, Roberto Cotto Jr., pressed Nikki Yovino about some inconsistencies in her original statement. After doing some prodding and going to visit her at her home, Roberto Cotto Jr. found out that Yovino's original statement was not true. Nikki eventually admitted that she made up the rape allegations against the two football players in hopes of gaining sympathy from another man. Yovino admitted that she made up the rape allegations against the two football players in hopes of gaining sympathy from another man who was a prospective boyfriend, according to her arrest warrant. There was also one student, according to the arrest warrant affidavit, said he overheard Yovino telling the men she wanted to have sex with them, which is contradictory to Nikki's original statement. Why? What was the reason why someone would do something like this? That's what you have to ask yourself in a situation that's this serious and this damning. What was going through her head? Nikki admitted that she made up the allegation of sexual assault against the two football players who were African American men, and Nikki Yovino is a white woman. She admitted that she made up the allegation of sexual assault against them because it was the first thing that came to mind, and she didn't want to lose another male student as a friend and potential boyfriend if word got out. She stated that she believed when the other male student, who was the prospective boyfriend and suitor for her, possibly, heard the allegation, it would make him angry and sympathetic to her, according to the affidavit. Mark Sherman, Yovino's attorney, said he had not yet been provided with police reports and video footage pertaining to the case, but he told the Post back on March 3rd that Yovino initially would plead not guilty at her arraignment. After some pretrial maneuvering and all of that, Yovino eventually was charged for a tampering felony charge, which she could face up to 5 years with a $5,000 bond. After that, the two football players who were facing discipline for this, one of them readmitted to the university, but he was no longer a member of the football team and he lost his scholarship. Sacred Heart came out with a statement and they wanted to say they never expelled these two students, nor was any student stripped of scholarships because of any allegations. They went on to say, whenever there's any kind of incident at Sacred Heart University, we go to great lengths to ensure due process for all parties involved. The way that this particular case is playing out certainly demonstrates the validity of our procedures. So they're saying that they waited until the facts come out, but that appears quite contrary to what's indicated in this report. Wait, there's more. And eventually there was a revelation, and eventually Nikki came to her senses and she pled guilty. So in June of 2018, Nikki Yovino, 19 at that time, pleaded guilty in Connecticut Superior Court in Bridgeport to 2 counts of falsely reporting an incident in the 2nd degree and 1 count of interfering with officers. She had been accused of falsely telling police that 2 African-American Sacred Heart University football players sexually assaulted her during a fall party in 2016. There was supposed to be jury selection for her trial, and that was set to begin, and then she entered a surprise plea. So she was facing trial. Yovino had originally been charged with that felony tampering, and the plea agreement allows Yovino to avoid the more serious felony charge while still serving time behind bars for making up the story. Before we go to what she was actually sentenced to, I wanted to give the victim some time to speak and to give his say on what the false accusation has done to him and how it's affected his life. The victim's name is Malik Hilaire, and you'll hear what he has to say. We'll go to NBCConnecticut.com for the report.
Boyfriend, and today that lie is costing a college student a year of freedom. The judge sentenced the 20-year-old woman today, but not before hearing from the football players who paid a big price because of her bogus claim.
And one of those football players who was falsely accused of raping this woman, he poured out his heart on how this case changed his life. And the woman who made it all up, all she did was roll her eyes.
Anxiety, I have like PTSD from this.
Former college football player Malik St. Hilaire describing for the court how false accusations of rape by 19-year-old Nikki Yovino left him a broken man.
I went from being a college student to sitting at home, expelled with no classes, no information, and no opportunity to even clear my name.
The statement coming as Yovino, a Long Island native, was sentenced today on charges that she made up rape accusations against St. Hilaire and another football player. Police say the lies stem from a party in October of 2016, when Yovino, who attended Sacred Heart University, told investigators 2 football players from her school raped her in a bathroom at an off-campus party. Taking a plea deal, Yovino admitted this sex was consensual and the rape was a lie which she made up for fear of losing a potential boyfriend who knew she had been with the players. The athletes lost their scholarships and their chance to play. An attorney read one of the victim's statements who did not appear in court.
She accused me of what I believe to be a horrific crime at her own selfish concern. I lost my scholarship, my dream of playing football, and now I am in debt and simply trying to get ahead as best I can.
Yovino did not speak during the sentencing and did not show signs of remorse in court. In fact, she rolled her eyes during parts of the hearing and puckered her lips. But for the former wide receiver, he hopes Yovino learns how serious and how damaging a lie can be.
So I just hope that, she knows what she's done and the fact that my life will never be the same.
Those are always difficult to hear. What brings somebody to lie about something that's so serious, that affects so many people, that could literally ruin the accused's life? Remember earlier when I talked about the power that the breath that comes out of our mouth can make? The harm it could cause? How somebody merely making an accusation about you, even if it's overturned, can still damage you. It could still ruin your life. Those 2 young men, even though the case was dismissed and she was charged, it still has affected their lives. It's affected their college careers, their perception around other people. You can still have that charge on your record, not a conviction, but that charge. There's always some doubt to some people that will never be cleared, name forever tarnished, even after it's proven that the person was lying. My response to that is, how can something where if the person is charged and convicted, if those 2 men were charged and convicted, they could be facing at the minimum 10 years for rape, 15 years, 20 years, at least. How can somebody accuse you of something so heinous where you could lose your freedom, your reputation, your ability to play, your ability to earn an income, your access to doing certain things because of what it's done to your reputation? They get found guilty of it, admit to lying, and get 1 year in jail. Is that justice? I think something's lost there. I think whatever it is that you charge, that once it's proven to be blatantly false, I think whatever the crime and the amount of time the person would have served if they were convicted of that false accusation should be the time in jail that the false accuser should serve. Equally. If it's proven to be blatantly false. I'm not talking about gray area. I'm talking about if it's proven that blatantly false that the person lied, I think the person should serve the same amount of time that the person that was facing that offense would have served. That's my take on it and my position. There's one other thing here that has to do with her criminal prosecution. I think will provide some further context to this situation. So we're going to go to the senior assistant state attorney who prosecuted the case, Tatiana Messina, and she said, "This was not an easy charging decision for the state." Huh? But with the evidence we had against Miss Yovino, we do believe this disposition is both fair and appropriate. She says, "Many true victims of sexual assault are often disbelieved. But that is because of cases like this and the impact they have on public perceptions. Miss Yovino's actions are a disservice to those true victims, in addition to the two young men whose lives were greatly affected, and that was nothing, and that was not something that could have been ignored." I'll say that again. Many true victims of sexual assault are often disbelieved, but that is because of cases like this and the impact they have on public perceptions. Miss Yovino's actions are a disservice to those true victims, in addition to the two young men whose lives were greatly affected, and that was not something that could have been ignored. That's a statement from Senior Assistant State's Attorney Tatiana Messina. So what's the moral of the story? I would like to think that we are in a new era, an era of awareness, an era of logical thinking, critical thinking. And I would like to think that stories like this will make people understand that they should not just blindly believe somebody when they have an accusation. I think more people should ask questions. Listen intently. Investigate these type of cases thoroughly to make sure that the evidence adds up, and then only then believe the truth. At the beginning of the episode, I talked about the power words have. I hope in this episode you have a deeper understanding of exactly the power they can inflict upon another person and damage them. They can inspire, they can help, they can guide, but they also can manipulate, destroy, and deceive. So when somebody says something, you need to listen intently, because it could be your brother, your cousin, your father, your son in this same situation. I'll leave you with this. Moving forward, what we need to do more so than anything is listen to people and have some grace for people when they're telling you what happened to them, but don't blindly believe it. And I'll leave you with that. So, hey, I know this has been heavy, but this has been another episode of the Carrot Juice podcast. If you enjoyed this content and you got value out of it, do me a favor. Rate and review the podcast, please. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere where you consume podcasts. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. For my YouTube audience, I really appreciate you. Do me a favor, it's free. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell and select all so you get notified anytime I drop some content. Here at the Carrot Juice podcast, I provide commentary and perspective on the culture. We talk about dating. We talk about true crime incidents like this, and I also add in productivity so you can learn how to grow and develop as a person. Like I say every time here at the Carrot Juice podcast, love someone, hug someone, do something good for somebody, not expecting anything in return. And until next time, peace.